The rain lashed against the museum's glass dome, each drop a tiny hammer against the silence within. Detective Miles Corbin stood before the empty pedestal, his reflection a ghost in the polished floor. The eye of the serpent, a diamond the size of a pigeon's egg, was gone. In its place, nestled on the velvet where a king's ransom once sat, was a single, perfect white feather. The phantom had struck again. This was the 5th time in 2 years. 5 priceless artifacts vanished without a trace, each theft leaving behind this same silent calling card. No forced entry, no tripped alarms, no witnesses. It was as if a ghost had simply waltzed in and taken what it wanted. Corbin picked up the feather with a pair of tweezers, its downy texture almost mocking the cold, hard reality of the crime. The phantom wasn't just a thief. They were an artist, and the entire city was their canvas. Back at his office, the walls were a collage of the phantom's work. The siren's lyre, the sunstone of Rhea, the golden fleece of Caucasus. Each item was a legend made real, and now each was a legend once more. Corbin traced a line connecting the locations of the thefts on a city map. There was no geographical pattern, but there was another kind of pattern, one he couldn't quite grasp. He needed an expert, someone who saw these objects not as assets, but as stories. That's what led him to Dr. Aries Thorne, the museum's chief curator. Thorne was a man who seemed to have stepped right out of a history book, with tweed jackets and a mind like a library. He looked at Corbin's board, his sharp eyes taking in every detail. "It's not just their value, Detective," Thorne said, his voice a low hum. "It's their theme. Every single piece is tied to mythology. These aren't just thefts. They're chapters in a story someone is telling." Thorne explained the legends behind each artifact, how the eye of the serpent was said to be plucked from a mythical basilisk. The thief wasn't just stealing treasure. They were collecting myths. For weeks, the city held its breath. Corbin and Thorne pored over ancient texts and auction records, trying to anticipate the phantom's next move. They felt like they were in a chess match with a ghost. Then, one morning, an envelope appeared on Corbin's desk. No stamp, no address. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a riddle elegantly penned in black ink. "I have wings but cannot fly, a heart of stone, and watch the city from on high. What am I?" Corbin read it aloud to Thorne over the phone. A long silence followed. "A gargoyle," Thorne finally whispered, his voice filled with a sudden urgency. "But not just any gargoyle. The Griffin's Heart? It's a sculpture on the old St. Jude's clock tower. Legend says its stone heart was carved from a meteorite. It wasn't in a museum, but it was a priceless piece of the city's history, a myth hiding in plain sight." They finally had a chance to be one step ahead. "The clock tower? Tonight?" Corbin said, a new resolve in his voice. "We're setting a trap." The night was cold and clear, the moon a sliver of silver in the inky sky. Corbin and his plainclothes team were hidden in the shadows around the old clock tower, their breaths misting in the air. The tower loomed over them, a silent stone giant. Hours passed. The city grew quiet. Just as Corbin began to think they'd been wrong, a flicker of movement caught his eye. A figure, impossibly nimble, was scaling the tower's stone face, moving with the grace of a dancer. No ropes, no gear, just pure athletic skill. The figure reached the rooftop, moving towards the stone griffin. That was the signal. Corbin ascended the tower's internal stairs, his team following close behind. He burst onto the rooftop. "It's over, Phantom," he called out. The figure turned. It was a woman, clad in black, her face partially obscured by a mask. She held no tools, no bags. She wasn't prying the griffin's heart from its perch. She was simply touching it, almost reverently. "I'm not here to steal it, Detective," she said, her voice clear and steady. She lowered her mask. She was young, with eyes that held a story far older than her years. "My name is Alina. I'm here to protect it." She explained that the museum's director, a man named Sallow, was the real thief. He had been systematically replacing the museum's most valuable artifacts with flawless forgeries, selling the originals on the black market. Her family, she explained, had been the original guardians of these artifacts for generations, long before they were donated to the museum under duress. "I'm not stealing them back," she said. "I'm taking them into safekeeping until Sallow is exposed. The feather, it's my family's crest, a symbol of our promise to protect them." She looked at Corbin, her gaze unflinching. "You're a good detective. You look for the truth. Look into Sallow. Check his private acquisitions. Check the museum's decommissioned storage." Corbin was a man of evidence and procedure, but his gut, the instinct that had made him the best detective in the city, was screaming at him to listen. He saw the truth in her eyes. He made a split-second decision. He lowered his weapon and nodded slowly. In that moment of hesitation, Alina smiled, a sad, knowing smile. With a breathtaking leap, she vaulted over the parapet and disappeared onto the roof of the adjacent building, vanishing into the night like the phantom she was named for. The next day, armed with a new warrant and a gut feeling he couldn't shake, Corbin led a raid on the museum director's private estate. Just as Alina had said, hidden in a climate-controlled vault, they found them all: the Siren's Lyre, the Sunstone of Ur, and the Eye of the Serpent. Forensic analysis confirmed that the pieces currently in the museum were brilliant, but undeniable fakes. Director Sallow's web of deceit unraveled completely. He was arrested, his reputation crumbling like ancient stone. The case of the Phantom was officially closed, the recovered artifacts chalked up to brilliant police work. But Corbin knew the truth. Alina was never seen again. A week later, another unmarked envelope appeared on his desk. Inside, there was no riddle, just one final, perfect white feather and a small, folded note. 2 words were written on it: "Thank you." Corbin stood by his office window that evening, overlooking the sprawling city lights. He held the feather in his palm, feeling its impossible lightness. A slow smile crept across his face. The city had its artifacts back, a corrupt man was behind bars, and a ghost was still out there, a guardian watching from the shadows. And for the first time in a long time, Detective Miles Corbin felt like he was on the right side of a much bigger story.